Missed an episode of your favorite podcast? Choose from over a decade of content in our archives, not just the latest episode. All free at GCNlive.com.
This is your call to action. Get prepared, America. Economy, survival, energy, disasters. This is USAPrepares.com. Informative radio, educational radio. Interact now by emailing instructor@USAPrepares.com or text at 434-390-7953. Class, please take your seats. Now, your instructor, Vincent Finelli.
Everyone all set, cocked, locked? Here we go. Your dial set correctly to USA Prepares. Thank you for being with us today. We broadcast 2 hours from high atop the Missouri Ozark Mountains. Blake is engineering the broadcast in Minnesota. I'm Vincent Finelli. If you'd like to call in, 866-582-9933. 866-582-9933. Telephone listen line is up. 605-477-3249. 605-477-3249. It's up 24/7. Mike Ma's with us today. And so Mike has well over 50 years of observing, study, and experience in criminal and violent behavior. Watching people, seeing what they do. He's trained SWAT teams. And he's going to share with us his thoughts. Welcome, Mike Ma.
Good morning, Vincent. Good morning.
Hey, Mike, I'd like to apologize to you.
Mm-hmm.
I am really sorry that we have been unable to have a meetup for your seminar on the three-man militia, how to prepare, how to survive, how to protect your family, how to come out alive for you and your family. We've been unable to get the minimum number of attendees to do that. Why? The only reason I can think of is that people are afraid. They're afraid to come out. They're afraid that if they're associated with me and with you, that the police will surround us maybe and invade us, for doing nothing violent, for doing nothing more than teaching people what they need to know. The same things that government corporations do. The police are taught how to protect themselves. They're also taught how to kill people. Now, we're not in the business of wanting to do that. But we're not doing anything that's against the law, that we're not doing anything that's not above board. But I think that people are afraid that if they come and spend some time with us, learning things that they need to know to protect themselves, to be aware, to understand how to open the door at their own home, they're afraid that they're going to be on a list, the license plates will be recorded, the cell numbers of their cell phones will be zeroed in to track to who they are, all of that. I think that is a primary reason, because there was nothing that we could do to get enough people. However, there were a number of people who were extremely interested in being there, but we couldn't get enough of them. And I'm stunned, absolutely stunned. And I apologize, Mike, that we couldn't pull it off.
Well, I shot the number, and we've been doing it here.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've done is I limited it to 6 weeks, and the idea was to get more and more and more, keep having more and more people come. That's what the idea was. And what it came out with was the only ones, we got 2 new ones in that whole time. And what it is for us, it's people don't want to, the ones that do it are already preparing, they're already into all this stuff. And so what we had to do is come up with odd subject matter that most aren't really into. And I'm surprised that it took so long. It took us a couple weeks just to get on the right subjects. And then after that, it's taken us a long time. It's been maps and communications is what we've ended up doing. We stayed on that particular subject after we figured out what the right subject was to work on. And the other stuff, really, nobody had that much interest in because they were already into it. And then people that aren't into it, then they're just lost anyway. They're doing their own thing. They're waiting for the ball game to come. But we tried different subjects, and I sent you the scenario, and it didn't apply to our group because our group's already had a plan for everything. I was shocked. But the one thing that they didn't have, or the two things, is mapping and communications. And we're just finishing that up. This will be our last week. And we're connecting everybody with radios and repeaters. We're stretched out over a 15-mile area. And we're able to, we should be, by next week, we should be ready to sit in your living room and be able to communicate with everybody else in the group. So, but that's what I'm saying. My experience has been they pretty much know. They're looking for particular subjects. And all the people that were there, they weren't into the shooting type stuff. So, everything, I'll tell you, I've been trying a new carry system, and I had a gun fall out. And at that time, people didn't even realize I was carrying. And everybody's got a good laugh out of it, but people like say I'm always trying new things. But like I say, they're not into that. They were all the older group, but they were very active. And but not, like I say, into the firearm part. And so I was hoping to get some young blood in there, but like I say, we weren't able to attract them. And because, like I say, we're not an aggressive bunch, and like I say, now I told them this is our next one's our last meeting, and they're already talking about they want to start gardening. They want to talk about gardening and canning and food storage and this type of stuff. And when we pick it apart, we pick it apart in detail. And what we were doing, it wasn't a show and tell, so we don't bring things. It was just all talk. And now we're going to move to a different location, and it's going to be more of a show and tell. And someone else will take control of the group. We just kind of take turns, and that's the way we run a three-man militia. You just don't have that one person runs everything, because the three in the group have different skills. And so when you're going to that particular subject matter, then that particular person will take the lead, and the rest just, they're just along for the ride. And that's what we're doing on this. So I led the first 6 weeks. This next 6 weeks will be, like I say, that's what we're going to talk about. This next meeting is what do we want to go on. But right now it looks like gardening and food. They're really concerned about food. How much food they're going to have now, and they're going to be needing food. Everybody and then again, remember, I'm on the edge of the city. The closest one to the city is right on the very edge, and the rest of us are all, out in the country. So that's why they're really concerned about food and where do you fall back to? Everybody's already there. That's why that scenario I sent you, nobody was going anywhere. And now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using each other, depending on what it is, because it could be a tornado or, it could be most anything. So, but yeah, and then we're going to be talking about shelters, not only dug-in shelters, but temporary shelters and, this type of stuff. These are things that they don't really realize how important all this stuff is. And that's why with the radios, I was shocked when they wanted to know more about radio. And it was funny, everybody had a radio. And but they didn't know how they worked, and they weren't able to coordinate it with other people. And then the ones among us that were electronically minded, they were able to start kind of working things, and everybody's learned a lot, and putting us all together. And then, like I say, the maps, and we even went out one time at night and used the nights, or using night vision and different kind of lights to read the map at night. And we got a system on the maps. We can get on the radio. We say some colors, and then that will tell you a location. So it's not real secret code, but it's a simple code that we all picked up really fast, really easy. So, and that's what I'm saying. So what we were trying to put together was really an advanced, because, well, just my negotiating for your life seminars, it was stuff that people never even thought of. And what we were going to put together was going to be a whole lot. Remember, I told you the first part was going to be I want to answer everybody's questions, and then that will lead us to what I want to answer everybody's questions in detail, exactly what they can do, and give them more options. But like I say, we're really advanced on everything, because like I say, I don't hold back on anything. So,
Mike,
I really believe anybody that knows me knows that it was going to be a lot. And if they're not physically capable, it probably wouldn't have helped them. Because, like I say, we're not going to, what we were going to do, we weren't going to talk about radios. It was going to be more physical stuff. Mm-hmm. And not so much weapons. But, it will be weapons, but because that wasn't going to be a show and tell either. But like I say, it have to be people that are really advanced. And I would say the ones that have got a hold of you, they weren't newbies. I would say that. No,
they weren't.
Mm-hmm.
There are people who are in our class who pay attention, who've met us, at one time or another have been to either the farm or our expo or a meetup. They've met you and they want more and more and more. And I want to talk about detractors when we come back. Mike Ma's with us. NoStressMike.com. Also, I'd like to talk about, we talked about radios. Let's talk about that for just another couple of minutes. We'll be right back with Mike Ma, NoStressMike.com. So, class, we have our detractors. There are people who think we're a little odd. That's okay. If they want to ridicule us, that's okay. But I want to tell you, if you pull stunts like that, you're not welcome to associate with us. And so for those who ridicule us, don't come to my farm. You're not welcome. You're absolutely not welcome. You'll be shown the door. And because of that, and we don't have very many detractors, just a few. And for those who come out and lash out at us, those people are not welcome at our events. So instead of having an expo where we say, come on, and if you can't afford it, no problem. I'll buy your ticket. That's over. We're not doing that anymore. And for our get-togethers, they will be invitation only. Now, what does that mean? That means that if you'd like to come, you're going to have to give me your name and your phone number and your email address. And if that doesn't set well, okay, don't come. We are not going to allow our detractors to sit among us and cause problems. We're not going to do it. Life's too short. So we're closing the ranks, and it's going to be, those are the rules. It's not open for everybody. And, frankly, Mike, I am just kind of tired of trying to drag along the generally dumb public, trying to get them to see that maybe they should take that $100 of beer money and ball ticket money, for an afternoon event, going to the ball game and watching a bunch of guys in short pants chase a ball. I'm tired of telling them, take that $100 and do something productive with it. So we're not chasing them. People have said that we should dumb down our broadcast to get more people. Forget it. We're not doing it. We're not doing it. And one of our instructors, I've mentioned this before, and this is how strongly I feel about it, so I'm just going to tell you one more time. One of our instructors, Dr. Richard Allen Miller, was attacked on the air on another radio broadcast, on another network. It was not Republic Broadcasting Network. It was not Genesis Communications Network. It was another one. It was an alternative radio broadcast. And they picked up our program, and we had another outlet for people to hear. Well, they attacked Rick Miller, the owner of the network. I immediately disassociated myself and USA Prepares from that network and that person. That's how strongly I feel. I will cut listeners, if I have to protect and be loyal to our team. And our team is our instructors and our class. So I don't want to be associated with detractors. And I understand what Donald Trump's going through. In a very small way, I understand. I understand what it's like to be attacked by people who don't have the facts. I understand that. And I don't want to be associated with them. And I don't put people on the air who I disagree with. If I don't like them, they're not on the air with us. It's as simple as that. And I don't want them in my fighting hole either, because I don't trust them. And I've told people at the meetup that, and these are people I've known for years, that if I were in a fight and there were two of us and we were back to back and I had half of them toward the front and the other guy or gal had half of them to my back, I was pretty darn sure that the other guy would raise their hands or his hands or her hands and I would get shot in the back. I'm not talking about Mike Ma, that's for sure. I'm talking about people who are weak. People who just can't take it, don't have what it takes. The intestinal fortitude, as my dad used to call it. There are too many people who are weak. And I want nothing to do with them. I'm not going to drag them along because it'll slow me down. You can call that being selfish? Okay, fine. Any quick comments?
No, I agree with you 100%. I'm basically the same way.
I wasn't born this way. My mom didn't say, hey, Vinny, this is the way you got to be. I learned all this. It took 67 years, but I learned it. We'll be right back. Mike Ma mentioned radio codes, and it's quite important. So the cops, the Association of Police Communications Officers, has this 10 code, it's called. So, for example, you've heard 10-4. Yep, 10-4, that means acknowledged. It means okay. It means message received. Okay. You've heard of 10-10. It means, well, it can mean a couple things, depending on whose code. It could mean there's a fight in progress. That's a general purpose 10-10 response. Or it can mean no, negative. Okay, or it can mean traffic detail. It can mean off duty, depending on whose codes you're using. So then there's 10-12, which generally means stop, but it could mean vandalism. There's a 10-16, which means sometimes domestic problem. Generally, for the police, it means reply to message, or it could mean pick up a prisoner. Now, the reason I'm going through this is there are a lot of codes. There's 10-1, 10-0 all the way through 10-106. And those are codes that have been adopted by different groups. But if you don't know the codes and you say, and you get on the radio and you radio to your base and you say, look, it's me. I'm out here, I'm all alone, and they're coming. I'm outnumbered. What do? I'm on the big hill, and they're coming toward me. I mean, that's crazy to say that, right? Because now you've just, in the clear, transmitted that you're all alone on the hill, so they know where you are. And then the base says, come back to us. And then the other team watches you run toward base. You can't do that. You've got to have your own codes. You can't use their codes. You've got to come up with your own. Right, Mike?
And that's correct. Correct. And we try to keep it simple. And I say, so we're using colors and numbers. So we keep it very simple. Easy to go. And I say, it's something you can, a lot of us are like me, we can't hear real good. So that's why, another reason why we have to keep it as simple as possible. But, yeah.
And also, you want your transmissions to be really short. I mean, you could say I'm in the red zone. And if you've studied the map and you've indicated where the red zone is versus the blue zone versus the green zone, the other part of your group knows pretty much where you are, rather than, I'm on the hill. No, not that hill, the big hill. No, the hill to the left of the big hill. You don't have to go through all that. And that's why you need to study this and prepare it and design it. And you need to keep it close and not share it with everybody, which is what I've been saying about, if we have get-togethers, they're going to be private. We're not going to let the other team in. We're not going to give them our codes. We're not going to give them our strategies. We're not even going to let them know who we are.
Yep, sounds good. That's like I say, like ours, our get-togethers is it's everybody's in. If someone comes in, that means somebody invited them, and whoever it was that invites them is the one that gets them updated on what's going on. And like I say, they're the ones taking responsibility for the one that they brought. And we just, like I say, just like all of it, it's all based on trying to get a relationship. And like I say, that's why the first couple of weeks was just nothing but trying to get to know who these people are and then go from there. Because like I say, we never did cover anything that I wanted to cover, but it wasn't about me. It was about trying to get everybody caught up and informed and find out who knows what, and find out who's open and who's tight-lipped, and try to figure out if you're an asset, how are you an asset? And we did. Everybody figured out, because some people would be an asset, some people would be a liability. So, and that's what the whole thing was all about. Get to know each other, and one person's asset might be another person's liability. But it was kind of odd that we didn't do anything that I really know, and so I was just kind of going along with the ride. But I say I was hoping it was going to turn into something, and it may, it just still may. We're going to find out next week.
So here's the point, class, or here's one point. It's like almost impossible to build a team, almost impossible. And at least without yelling and screaming and threatening people. I mean, like the Army does or the Marines. They build teams to get guys, and they've got a whole recruiting division that will recruit people. They'll have them sign contracts. Then they'll go to boot camp, and then the recruits will get screamed at and pushed and threatened in lots of different ways. And so, if you're trying to build a team by being nice and polite, it's a lot tougher. It's a lot tougher.
Yeah, but that's why on my staff, like I say, when it gets to more of the personal, physical stuff, then you're right. You're like that. And you remember, it's the militia. You have to remember, it's militia. It's real people. And like you said, there's no contract signed or anything else. They want to quit, they're going to go. So it's relationships that are important. And so it's a different way of doing things. But like I say, on my part, it's basically kind of military kind of stuff. I mean, there's no excuses. But like I say, you got to remember you're dealing with real people, so there's going to be mistakes. But some stuff, like I say, in the close quarter stuff, you don't have mistakes. That's why it's really difficult.
Mm-hmm. And when you said no excuses, Mike, what came to my mind instantly is when we were doing that home invasion training and you all were coming after me and you were going to gang up on me. I mean, literally, guns in hand, and we all had face masks on to protect our faces and our eyes, and you were coming after me. My mask fogged up, okay? I couldn't see. And there's no way that you were going to let me say, hold it, give me a second here. Let me clear off my mask so I can see you guys coming after me. That wasn't going to happen. I had to figure out how I was going to get through it and not being able to see as well as I wanted to see. That's what you're talking about, no excuses. Another thing, Mike, you mentioned, in class, this is really simple. So let me just give it to you in the radio world way. So let's say there's 4 people in your family, and it gets bad. And Mike talked about food. So how do you store food? Well, the absolute easiest way is to have cans of food. So let's figure we'll have three kinds of cans. Just 3. We'll have beans, green beans. We'll have corn. And we'll have baked beans. That's it, right? So you can buy them for about $50 a can. So how much are you going to need? So let's say for breakfast, you're going to have a can. Green beans. You get green beans for breakfast. You get the whole can. That's it. That's all you're going to get, green beans. Then for lunch, you're going to have corn. And then for dinner, you're going to have baked beans. Or you can switch it around. You can have baked beans for lunch. All right. So that's, for one person, that's 3 cans a day. For 4 of you, that's 12 cans a day. That's a case. That's a case of cans of food per day. 1 case a day. Now, if there are 30 days in that particular month, that's 30 cases of food. If each can weighs 1 pound, that's 360 pounds. I can assure you that your shopping cart is not going to hold that. It will take many shopping carts to hold that. Now, how many of you have that much food? Virtually nobody. Okay? Should you? Of course you should. And when should you? When it's on sale. It's as simple as that. Now, is it going to be pleasant? I don't think so. But is it going to be better than a guy who's going door to door looking for food? Of course. So those are the kinds of things that you need to think about. Those are the kinds of things that we talk about in these meetings and how to do it. Mike, any comments?
It's funny that you're absolutely right. And that's the kind of stuff we talk about. But it's not what I do. And that's what throws everybody off. And the reason is I'm homeless. I don't have any place. I got places where I do give them some food. This is what makes me welcomed in different places. I might give them some food. I might have some guns stashed there. But that's about it. The rest of it is in gold and silver. And so I got a lot of gold and silver, and that's what I use. And then people say, well, yeah, but you can't eat it. Well, I can carry a whole lot more gold and silver than I can food because, like I say, I'm moving. Unlike most people, they're sitting in. And that's why I'm telling them here, we're relatively safe, just like you. And that's because you prepare, and that's what they do here. They're prepared. Each person is prepared. And so, but the thing is, I'm not. And so that's why I just kind of help them. But then, like I say, I'm going to be gone. And that's what they don't understand. How are you going to be? Why aren't you going to stay here? You know, and I say, well, I don't stay here now. You know, I mean, now is good times and I don't stay. You know, I'm always going someplace. And that's because I do move. I know what I do is different. And I know it's needed in some places. So I got to be prepared to go to other places.
Talk more about that when we come back. Because most people are not prepared to move. Most people would rather settle in and stick it out rather than move. Moving's risky. We'll be right back. Mike Moss with us. No stress, Mike. He's going to be with us for the next hour as well. Mike, I've heard you say that not all Marines are in combat. Only 10% of Marines are combat Marines. Is that true?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
There's very few. I was shocked. When I came back from Vietnam, I was shocked. I thought all Marines, you know, did combat. We all went through the basic training, and then everybody... well, not everybody. Then they'd go off to different things, and even advanced infantry training. You know, I thought all of these people were going to go into combat, but I was shocked that it doesn't work that way. And what I did is funny because when I'm in Tulsa area, I stay with an Air Force guy, and he set the radars on the Phantoms. And so I told him thank you, because he saved my life many times, and he couldn't understand what it was that I was talking about. And when we get in a bad situation, I mean, there was a reason why 100 of us could fight 3,000. There's a reason for that. And one of the reasons was we call for a Phantom. We want the Phantom to come. Remember, I said no excuses? And that's the way his work was, no excuses. He was doing radar and guiding system for bombs. And but I put a face on it. When we met, then he knew what he was doing. It was saving my life. And it's a big thing. For him, he didn't think it was that big of a thing. But like I say, he wasn't there in the jungle when we were calling for help. And I don't want a Phantom flyer that's going to be 2 miles away because he's scared he's going to get hurt. I mean, I want him down. I want to feel his exhaust. And he can only do it if my friend did his job. And so many people have so much work to do just to keep me in the jungle. I was shocked how many people it took to do that. So, and I say that 10% that saw action, not all of them saw. Some saw more action than I did, and some saw less action. You know, and like I say, I stayed in the jungle. I lived in the jungle the whole 13 months. And some people would just spend some time, and then they'd go to some rear, and then they'd go back out again. But you know, I was staying out there. So everybody had something different.
When you were in the jungle in Vietnam, were you ever outnumbered?
Always. Always, always. The only time we really weren't is if it was an ambush, and we ambushed them. And then we would be the ones. But that was maybe once or twice a month, maybe. And then, but the rest of the time, normally it come out about we had one big combat encounter, usually once a month. And it would be anywhere from 500 to 7,000 was the biggest. And how they estimated them. I mean, I couldn't count them. They were going by that fast. But that's what they estimated, 7,000. I think they knew there was a battalion or 2 battalions there or something. They already knew they were in the area. They just didn't know where they were until they were on us. But like I say, we would have those big encounters maybe about once a month. And it was always like I talked about the ambush, you're moving. That's why moving is not a good thing. And self-defense is not moving. When you move, you're not doing self-defense. And so that's why when we had these big encounters, we were sitting. We were already dug in. We were in a place. That's where we had planes and artillery to back us up.
Mike, can we come back? May I ask you if you've ever had to be involved in anything horrific over there? Is that something we can talk about or not?
Probably not.
Okay. All right. We'll talk about something else with Mike Ma. NoStressMike.com. For the next hour. Please stay tuned. Everyone all set? Cocked? Locked? Here we go. Hour number 2 of USA Press. Mike Ma's with us. NoStressMike.com. During the top of the hour news, I heard the announcer mention that a big part of, I'm paraphrasing, big part of the anger in America, the anger that Americans are experiencing, is caused by the mainstream media. Well, I agree. A big part is because they lie. They lie, they distort, they try to manipulate us into their way of thinking. And some of the people who are involved in the mainstream media are sexual deviants. Sexual deviants. My wife doesn't want me to use the word homos, so I won't use that. I'll say they're homosexuals. So these guys and gals are being paraded in front of us, and we're supposed to look up to them. Really? I don't think so. Robert in Kansas is joining us. Robert, welcome. You're on with Mike Ma.
Hey, thank you, Vince. I hope you can hear me okay.
I can.
Okay, good. I just wanted to call in and talk to Mike. He said he was fighting in the jungles of Vietnam, and I find that to be fascinating. Mike, were you enlisted infantry during that 13-month tour?
Yes, I joined the Marines at 18 years old. I did 5 months of training and then 13 months in Vietnam, and then I was out. At 19 years old, I was out of the military.
Wow! And you spent all that time in the jungle fighting the Vietnamese. It's amazing.
Yeah, the North, it was all military. I fought all military. I was along the DMZ. Quezon, Contan, you probably don't know them because you sound like a young man, but those were big combat zones in the year 68. I was there the whole year of 68. And it was hard combat all along there at that time.
So you lost friends. You lost guys that you were with.
We would get the worst encounter we had. We had a third were killed. So each encounter we have most of the time we'll have between 1 and 4 or 5 get killed, and I don't know how many wounded. And but I say so. It was not that much, except for, but I say every month. Every month this is gone, and sometimes we'll have it in the teens. But normally it's, like I say, between 2 and 4, something like that, on each large encounter. Yeah,
total war, absolute combat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, no Viet Cong, no farmers. I mean, this was all military people we were fighting. I was in the DMZ. There wasn't nobody there. Just everybody there was for fighters of some type. So that's, you know, it was different. What I saw was different. And you can talk to different people that are in Vietnam, and they'll all have a different story. And I even have the people, and like I say, in the Marines, we had 3 in each combat hole. And that was talking about self-defense. That's all we do is defend that hole. If you are in the next hole, and that's about maybe 20 yards away, what you saw through the night is different than what I saw through the night. So everybody sees something different.
Yes, sir, I understand that. And it's fascinating to me, the jungle aspect of it. And just, I don't think people really appreciate what that means to be out in the jungles of Vietnam. It's actually a beautiful place. And I think that the thing about those people is everyone has wanted that coastline for so long. It wasn't just like the French showed up and that was the first people who wanted that land. They've been under attack since forever. And what I heard is that they not only lived on the land, but they lived in it. And it made it incredibly difficult to wage combat in the jungle in their homeland. If you have nowhere else to go, like Vincent was saying, sometimes it's just not worth running, And in other times, if you see the tanks come over the hill, well, stay in your house if you want to. But that's, it's one of those things where, you can't really understand combat and what that's like unless you go through it, which, you're lucky if you come out the other side, So that's, I find it fascinating, Mike, and I really like what you bring as far as people's understanding of, bad guys don't care, and you got to take care of yourself. It's a great message, and I hope Vince keeps having you on. It's really good.
Robert.
Well, thank you, Robert.
Robert, Mike is a very, very, very close friend. He's not just someone who calls in that I've heard of just once. No, Mike has lived here at the farmhouse with us on and off. He is who he says he is. There's no pretense. There's no embellishment. He really is that guy. And I can tell you this, that I've been to a restaurant with him in Springfield, Missouri, and we paid the bill and we were leaving. We were leaving our spot, and then Mike said, "I'll be right back." And he went to the table, and he left a very large tip, very large, way bigger than a person would normally leave. And he didn't say, "Hey, I'm going to go tip her. I'll be right back." Did very quietly. That's who he is. That's what he does. And there was no expectation that Mike was going to come back to that restaurant in the afternoon, tomorrow, next week, next month. It was just, he leaves a piece of kindness wherever he goes. That's what he does. He opens the door for people. He, if he had a hat on, he would tip his hat, that kind of thing. But you don't want to cross him. Mike, am I exaggerating?
No, not really. Not really. You're saying it real nice. I am exceptionally. I do not want trouble. Like I say, I travel a lot. Okay, like I say, I'm nice because I might go out that door and slip and fall. I'm going to need help. You know what I mean? And now, you can't bitch about something and then go out and get hurt, and then now what? Who's going to help you? Here in the United States, it's another world, but outside the United States, if something happens, you're on your own, and, who's going to help you? Well, anybody that I've had encounters with will help me because, like I say, I've been nice. But it's funny you say all this nice stuff about me. I'm wondering how you're going to sound because I'm going to be over and seeing you here before long. I canceled my trip to Thailand, and what I'm going to do is I need to get around, like you, physically. I haven't seen you, and I don't know how long, but it doesn't make any difference. once I see you, it'll be just like I didn't see you, yesterday.
Right.
I've been gone overnight.
Right.
And that's the way I am with the people I'm close to. And now, like I say, I've canceled my trip. I'm going to make my rounds probably just in Missouri and Kansas and Oklahoma. I'll just stay here close. And because, like I say, I'm working on a lot of very interesting things. And I need to pass on what I've been working on and get some feedback on what I'm doing. And because I say I've changed a lot of my tactics, and because it's different, I can see how things are changing, and I've got to be prepared. And like I say, when I travel, I'm limited on how much I can take with me, and so it's different. But like I say, so you talk good. We'll see how good you're going to talk when I'm knocking on your door and saying, "Hey, I haven't ate yet."
Well, Mike, have you ever not been welcome here?
No, but like I say, it's been a while, and then like I say, now I'm getting old. I'm old and just can't hardly move around. I'm not in good shape at all. Yeah.
You're welcome here, Mike. You know that. You've always known that. Robert and class, let me tell you, if you go to nostressmike.com, his website, you'll find a picture of him with a mask on. Okay? You won't be able to see his face. And you'll see his dog on his motorcycle with him, with the equivalent of a mask on. Because Zena and Mike would ride on his motorcycle and travel all over through countries together. They would travel together. And if you see that picture, it's a little intimidating because Zena's got goggles on. She's riding on Mike's lap. Mike has a bandana across his face, and he's got goggles on or glasses on and a hat on. You can't see. You can't see him at all. And he's got gloves on. So you have no idea what's underneath all of that wrapping. Okay? And that was the only image I had of Mike when I invited him to stay with us and to come up from Guatemala to the first expo that Mike attended and spoke at. And we've been friends before we met, and we've been friends ever since. Robert, do you have any more questions you want to ask of Mike and carry through the break?
Yeah, I can stick on if you want me to, man. Thanks.
Sure. Robert's with us. Robert Stewart in Kansas, USA Prepares Instructor. Mike Ma, USA Prepares Instructor. And me, Vin Finelli. We'll be right back. Mike Ma's with us. Robert Stewart in Kansas is with us. And, class, I've got 4 books right in front of me. In case you didn't know, Mike Ma is an author. He's written 4 books. One of them is Mike's World, Live It. Okay? So he wrote this book, and mine is inscribed, dated 2011, May 14th, 2011. And I'm not going to read the inscription. It's very, very nice. Next book is Mike's World, Book of Life by Mike Ma, and it's inscribed as well with a personal note. Next book is Staying Alive and Fruitful. And on the inside it said, Vincent, freedom is not free. God bless Mike. And the next book he wrote is Acupuncture You Can Do, Step-by-Step Guide to Acupuncture by Hui Chi Master Mike Ma. And so, Mike, you've written 4 books, and they're available where? Amazon?
Yes, on Amazon. And I got 5. The other one is Hui Chi, using body. I work on the body, and it's a step-by-step workbook on how to do Hui Chi.
Okay, and you've written one other book that has not been released.
Yes, one other. And I don't think it's going to be released now. So, yeah. It's just, I've learned, I've got older, I've got wiser. No, it's not going to be released.
Okay. Robert, do you have any questions for Mike or comments?
Well, I can't get my mind off the jungle, but I need to. It's amazing to me. Mike, I spent a lot of time in Iraq, and I lost friends and people I knew, better men than me. And I don't think I have the same. I was there a lot longer than you were, but I don't know. I don't think I didn't see what you saw. I saw Iraq theater, just recently, things like that. So it's a lot different. It was dangerous. We lost people, but I understand where you're coming from with a lot of what you're teaching, because you had to go through an education. You got an education, regardless of however you want to see it. It certainly will teach you the hard truth about, like you say, no excuses. You talk about honor and being honorable, simple things like that. And that's really, there's an education about life when you almost lose it, when you see it lost, things like that. You really do maybe value the life more than maybe other people do. You value other people, the relationship factor. And a lot of people think, well, you're just taught to be a killer in the military. Well, yeah, you are. I mean, sometimes you got to kill something or somebody. Not that you ever want to do that, but there is that part of it. That's part of life too. If someone attacks you or attacks your family, well, I mean, what are you going to do? Let them kill them? I mean, there's bad people out there. So, I just really appreciate you being on the radio and just sharing this sort of knowledge that is so rare these days. It's just not. Vincent talks about it all the time. He's an honorable man, and he tries to put honor out into society and to a lot of trouble of his own, right? But he's trying to. There's an honor that is being lost in our society, and it really needs to come back. It really does, or we're in for a bad time. So I really appreciate both of you. It's great that you're getting the word out, and you are changing things. I mean, you are, the whole country. I mean, it's multifaceted. It's a bunch of different people, but I mean, it's USA Prepares also, and it's just great to be able to get this from this education.
Well, Robert, go on and email me, and you're in Kansas, and I'm going to be going up to Kansas. I don't like to let everybody know exactly when and all that stuff or where, but like I say, email me, and if I can, I'll come by and say hi. And I do work with. I get along really good with military people for exactly what you're talking about, and we trade war stories. We have a lot of fun, and we learn a lot. And even now, you can see it in my tactics. I've got a lot of Afghanistan tactics.
Hold that thought. Mike Ma's with us. Robert in Kansas is with us. And I can see where this is going. I can see it right now. So Mike's going to be here, and we're going to have that training session anyway. It's just going to be a little different. It'll probably be a bunch of instructors. I can see it happening. Can you, Robert? You're pretty close. You're in Kansas.
Yeah, Vincent, you talked about getting the team together. That would be great to just whatever comes out of it, or to be there or anything like that. I'd be very interested in something like that.
I kind of thought that. And Mike, if Robert wants to get in touch with you, what's the best way, or for our class to get in touch with you? Through email. How would you like that to be done?
Yeah, through email is the best. So, yeah. Do I say the address? Or?
Yes, please do.
No stress Mike at yahoo.com.
No stress Mike at yahoo.com. No, STRESS, Mike, MIKE, at yahoo.com. And that's how you get in touch with Mike Ma. If you'd like to buy some of his books, you can get them on Amazon. And Mike, some of us have been wondering about Xena, your dog. I understand she's retired?
Well, she's passed now. It's 2 years now. She's passed away. But yeah, and she retired the last 2 years. She was here on this ranch that I'm staying at. That's where she was staying her last 2 years.
Mm-hmm. That's very sad. And I know
I haven't got another one, another dog. I know I'm not going to get another dog that's going to travel as well as she did. She traveled so well. She wouldn't eat anything unless I gave her the okay. She wouldn't drink unless I gave her the okay. And when you travel, there's water puddles and people will, maybe there's bad food out there, something dead laying on the road. She won't eat none of that stuff. You can't poison her because she won't take food from you unless I give the okay. And I know I'm not going to get another dog like that. So, and she wasn't aggressive. She's so well trained, it scared everybody. One of the best things I did was I could raise my hands, and when I raise my hands, that tells her to come. And like somebody pulls a gun on you and you raise your hands up, and she would come. And so she's on the motorcycle, minding her own business, and then they stop me. I get off the motorcycle, and they point the gun at me. I put my hands up. She jumps down, goes over to him, sits down right next to him, and looks at him. And they're scared. They don't know what she's going to do. And then once I bring my hands down, and what she's doing, she's looking because I taught her she's not scared of guns. So when she sees the gun, she knows I'm going to shoot something, and she wants to go get it. Normally I'd shoot, water bottles, and I'll shoot it, and then she'll run over and get it. And so she runs over to the guy, looking at him, expecting him to shoot something. And when I bring my hands down, and then I'll tell him to put the gun down, and he'll put the gun down, and then I'll put my hands down, and then she'll just kind of, well, what is she supposed to do now? So she, nobody's going to shoot anything. She doesn't know what to do. So, and because most people are taught dogs are, where I travel anyway, the dogs are, they're kind of nasty. They're street dogs. And so they're taught when they're little kids, stay away from the dog. And so that's when they're a child, they already know that. Now when they're getting older and they got the gun, they don't realize they can just shoot the dog because the dog is so well trained, and so they just don't know what to do. And so that's how and that's a big thing. That is what made me so I rode the motorcycle, like you said, from Panama to Canada. And I drove all around all the time. And that's how I learned to travel and to get around. I had somebody like her. Now this next time I'm not going to be traveling, so I'm going to be getting a dog where I'm going to be, it'll be well trained again, but it'll be a little bit more hand signals to bite people and bark and stuff like that. But I'm trying not to, I'm hoping I don't have to get to that point. But, because like I say, if I had a dog, I withdraw a lot. Personally, I'll withdraw if I have a dog. Just me and my dog, I can go anywhere I want with that dog out in the woods and stay there forever. But I try not to. I want to still be able to function in society. So that's why I kind of stay away from it. But
Robert,
is that what you were thinking?
Well, I was thinking that this would be an absolute hoot when you come here. Give me a couple of weeks. I've got a couple of things I have to do, but after that, it would be just great. And we can use that time to get some instructors together. I know that there's some, within 100 miles who would just love to be here. And we can just, we can sit in the living room, Mike, and we can have long hours and hours and hours of discussions. And I know Robert would feel just so welcomed, and he'd feel so at ease even the first time meeting the instructors that, he hasn't met in person yet. I think that'd be so cool. Robert, is this...
Could I meet Dr. Shealy? Is that a possibility?
Absolutely.
Yeah, Dr. Shealy's an amazing man. I can't believe he's alive, to be honest with you.
Well, let me just share a quick story. So I alluded to the fact that another broadcaster, I actually mentioned that another broadcaster attacked Rick Miller on the air. And so I distanced myself from that particular broadcaster completely. I haven't had anything to do with him for years. Well, that same broadcaster told me that I should not have Norm Shealy on the air, more than maybe once a month for a half hour at the most. I said, absolutely not. No way. No way. Norm brings so much to the table. He's an absolutely brilliant guy. And, there are people who want to shut us down. They want to invade us. They want to change the way we think. And I'm resisting it at every turn. I'm not willing to compromise my values. I'm not willing to dumb down the broadcast. The only thing I'm willing to do is increase the level at which we teach. That's the only direction I'm willing to go. And the kind of things that we talk about with Mike Ma, you're not going to hear that on broadcast. Is Brian Kilmeade going to talk about that? Is Laura Ingraham going to talk about that? Mark Levin? Brian Sussman? How about Dennis Prager? How about McIntyre in the Morning? Dave Ramsey? Dom Giordano? Jim Vivich? Michael Medved? Are they going to talk about this? Bill Martinez? I don't think so. Barry Armstrong? I go right down the list. They're not going to talk about this stuff. But we are. And we have a smaller demographic, and that's okay. And if we lose our members of our class because they think we're nuts after they first listen to us, that's okay. It really is fine. Because in the end, we're going to be the ones who survive. And we won't have to worry about them because they're too dumb to get out of their own way. Too stupid. Sorry to be so graphic, class, but that's how I feel now. And it's not like I started out this way. I've learned that these people that you have to drag along with you or try to drag along are just too darn heavy. It's too much baggage. They'll weigh you down. They'll sink the ship. And I'm not willing to do that. Not anymore.
But you know what, Vince? You know what? The thing is about it, brother, is that a lot of them have been dumbed down, and have been, just a lot of it isn't their fault, and you have to, on some level, forgive them. And at the same time, you are 100% right. They're dumb. They're stupid. And that's not an exaggeration. They dumb these people down, and it's a tragedy because most of them, they just have no clue. It's amazing.
Unless they have a medical condition that requires them to wear flip-flops, when they're out in public, they shouldn't be wearing flip-flops out in public. Not because I think they're unsightly. It's because there's so many risks. You can't drive with flip-flops on. It's not safe. It's not safe for me to be around someone driving with flip-flops. It shows, unless there's a medical condition, to me it shows carelessness. And I can't have anybody who's careless in my fighting hole. It's as simple as that. Mike?
Well, one thing I've noticed is people don't respect themselves as much as they should. And they don't understand, and I've said this before, the United States is we the people, strong individuals. And it takes some effort. You're just not a strong individual because you're born that way. It takes effort. And I've noticed there's a lot of lack in trying to better yourself. That's one thing I noticed about you. And people, like you, they all the time looking to improve themselves. I cannot believe how people get to a level and then they want to stop there. I like myself just the way I am, and I don't want to get any better. I don't want to do any more. And like I say, that still amazes me how people are like that. I mean, I'm 69, and I just love, and that's one of the things when I go out, even going up to Kansas and Missouri, I will learn things, and I'm always learning. And I can't apply everything that I've learned, but learning, you get better, and some of the stuff I can apply. That's why I look. You can't. When you learn something, you have to find out what it is you can apply in your life. And you mentioned before about taking my hat off. I wear a hat for a reason, and I do wear my hat, and I do take it off. I show manners, and I look for people with good manners because I want to. What are they doing that impressed me? And then I will add that into my routine. So, no, I understand exactly what you're saying. And Robert's saying the same thing.
I'm looking forward to meeting Robert. Three of us will be back in just a minute. Mike Ma's with us, NoStressMike.com. Robert in Kansas is with us. And Dan Sutherfield, we're going to have you on in just a second. I just have a quick comment. And the gentleman who does the announcing for USA Prepares, his name is Ron Allen. His company is at the website, thebigvoiceproductions.com. And he was on the air with us one day, and we were talking about the anatomy of a commercial. And one of our instructors called in, Kyle Harrison, Montana. He called in, and now I'm paraphrasing this, okay? So I don't have the words exactly right, but this is close. So Kyle said that he abhors the commercials that they have on television where they portray Dad as the head of the household, sort of. He's a weakling, he's an idiot, he's goofy, he's unknowledgeable, he's a bumbling fool. And so Kyle said he really hates it when they portray the dad as this fool. And Ron Allen said something absolutely brilliant. And it ties to what we're saying today. He said, Kyle, some people identify with that bumbling fool, that dad. And they say, hey, that's me. I'm that guy. Meaning I'm that bumbling fool. So that ties in with what Mike and I and Robert in Kansas have been talking about this hour. There are people who are like that. They're hard to bring along because they have been dumbed down to that level. And corporations spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars a minute or for 30 seconds to advertise and to bring those people into the fold. Dan Sutherfield in Missouri, you're on with Mike Ma and Robert Stewart in Kansas. Welcome.
Well, yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I just wanted to throw my 2 cents in here real quick. If I could be included in that group you're hoping to have there at your place,
You are.
I'd consider that an honor.
Well, you would be. And, I didn't mention it on the air yet, but of course you are included. And there are a couple other guys in Rolla, Missouri that are associated with you that they're invited as well.
Well, I think that would make my year.
I've got to tell you, I've said on air that, if you come to the Get Prepared Expo, which is the USA Prepares Expo, I've made this promise to people that if they came to the expo, it would be one of their life's 10 most memorable events. Absolutely guaranteed. I made that promise and that claim. And no one has ever said, you know what? You're wrong. It's not one of the 10. Now I'm talking it's right up there with marriage. I'm talking it's right up there with getting your driver's license, the big events, starting your corporation, that kind of thing, getting that first job. It's right up there. It is that memorable. And I have a feeling that we're going to come close to that with this little event that we have with our instructors. And, it won't be 50 people, that's for sure. But it will be a hoot. And Mike, you've seen this kind of stuff that we do at the farm, right?
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
Do you think I'm making an outlandish claim?
No. It's there. I'll tell you, there is so much information. It's mind-boggling. I mean, people have a lot to share. I just love it.
Yeah, me too.
I totally agree.
Me too. Well, Dan Sutherfield, what I've done is I made a list of people who I would invite to this get together, and you're number one on that list.
Oh, come on!
No, I'm very serious. I'm very serious. I have it. I have a file saved on my computer, and it says, let's see. It's titled Mike Ma Seminar, Potential Participants, and you, Jerry Troyer, and another guy in Rolla, and Mark Irwin, and Robert in Kansas are on the list.
Well, that's
to name a few.
Incredible. I appreciate that, Ben.
Yeah. Robert, any last words?
Keep us informed.
Oh, no, Vince, I'd love to be included. That sounds great.
Okay. Mike, any last words?
Okay. No, you got me taken care of. Appreciate you having me. Thank you, Vincent. We'll be seeing you.
Hey, Mike, give me a couple weeks and then head out. Thanks so much. Mike Ma, No Stress Mike.com. And you can get in touch with him, No Stress Mike at yahoo.com. Mike, thank you so much for being with us. Robert in Kansas, thank you for being with us. Dan Sutterfield in Missouri, thank you for being with us.